Hey, Joe here from Complete Carnivore, and tonight we're cooking up some bison. We got a couple ribeyes over here. We got a nice flank steak over here. Couple things about bison. You'll notice it's smaller than a standard cut of beef. These are about 9-ounce steaks. They're not super thick. About 9 ounces each. The flank's about a pound, and that's I mean, if you look at ribeye about this thick, you're probably looking at about 14 ounces, maybe a pound. So it's about a third smaller than a similar cut of beef. I want to season the flank steak with some money rub from Big Papa Smokers. This is what I like on beef flank and tri-tip and other cuts like that. I'm not going to season it too heavily because I still want to taste the bison coming through. We'll talk more about bison in a bit. And the ribeyes, I've already dry brined them, so they have salt. I'm just going to give them a little hit of pepper. Just a little, not much, just one grind. Too much pepper and it starts burning on the grill. I have my PK grill over here with some lump charcoal. I think that's B&B lump this time. Just one chimney full. We're not reverse searing or anything. These steaks are thin enough where you don't need to reverse sear. I'm going to do what Just Pryles has recently started calling the just keep flipping method, where you put it on and you flip it every 20 or 30 seconds until it's done on the inside, and at that point should have a nice crust on the outside, a nice sear on the outside. So we'll put them on, and these are, I mean, the flank is right about the same thickness as the ribeyes, so I'm hoping these all cook about the same time. So like I said, let these go for about 20-30 seconds aside, flip them, flip them, flip them, flip them until they're done. Should take maybe about 5 minutes, somewhere around there. Let's talk about bison. Like I said, this is from a place called thehonestbison.com. They gave me some nice steaks to try out here, so we're cooking them. I'll put a link to them in the comments down there, down below the video. They do grass-fed bison. If you've had grass-fed beef versus regular beef, you know, there's a little bit of taste difference, a little bit gamier. It's usually a little bit leaner. Bison as a whole is leaner than beef anyway. So the grass-fed bison even goes a little bit beyond that as far as leanness goes. Has more iron, has more good fat, more omega-3s in it than beef. The flavor on it, you can definitely taste a difference between bison and beef, but it's not a horrible flavor. I know some people don't like venison. They think it's too gamey. Bison doesn't really have that same flavor. I had a couple weeks ago, I had some bison burgers from The Honest Bison. I had a tri-tip last week, and a couple weeks ago I smoked up some bison short ribs, and they're all delicious. I mean, it's easy to want to compare bison to beef, but it's two totally different animals. It would be like comparing a chicken to a turkey, where there's a lot of similarities and the musculature is the same, but there's a different flavor. There's definitely a different flavor between the two. Bison is generally going to be more expensive than beef for a few reasons. First of all, there's I think it's about like 120,000 cattle harvested every day, where there's somewhere like 60,000 bison harvested every year. So there's a lot more beef out there than bison. It takes longer for a bison to get to market weight. Their market weight's usually a bit smaller than beef. If you see those big old bison that are like in Yellowstone or whatever, that's not what you harvest for meat. Those are 20-30 years old or so, and they're huge. Standard bison, when you harvest it, is probably going to be 900 to 1,000 pounds versus 12 to 1,400 on cattle. So they're smaller. Like I said, these are grass-fed, which once again increases the time and the cost. It's about 3 years before a bison is ready to calve, where a cattle it's 18 months, so replenishing the herd takes longer. So all in all, there's more that goes into raising bison than beef in general. Another thing with bison, because it's lean and because there's more iron in it than beef, you want to cook it to a lower temperature. So like a flank steak, a beef flank steak, I'd normally want it about 130, 135-ish, and I want this about 120. Same with the ribeyes. I want those about 120. For a good beef ribeye, I'd go to about 125, 130 maybe. So you don't want to overcook bison because of the iron content. You can get some funky flavors developing once you start getting past 135, 100, up to 140 degrees, and it gets tough. The meat gets tough, and it just doesn't taste good when you cook it too much. As you can see, there's starting to get a few little flare-ups here. If there is, I got this nice cool side of the grill over here. I can just move the meat over to for a bit. I think we're about 4 or 5 flips in. I'm not keeping track really. I'm just talking and flipping this as I go. So I'll be quiet, speed up the video for a little bit, and we'll come back in a bit when these start to get closer to the end. Okay, we're starting to get some good color on these steaks. You see a nice crust forming here, this one especially. Move the steaks around too. I mean, if there's one spot of the grill that's a little hotter, I mean, obviously the middle here is a bit hotter than the edges, so I'm changing the positions of the steaks. You can flip them end to end. That one there is looking really good. Let me get my trusty thermopop, and we'll start taking some temperatures on these and see how close we are. Yeah, it's still only 74 degrees in there, so that one's still got a ways to go. So we'll just keep flipping these until they're done. I have never had a bison ribeye or a bison flank before, so I'm looking forward to giving those a try and seeing how they taste. Once again, the easy comparison is just compare it to beef, but it's a different animal. It's going to taste different. This one's starting to get, you can see the color on it starting to get nice and dark. That's kind of what we want. So in a minute we'll start moving it over here, get it off the heat a little bit, give the middle of the steak time to cook. A couple of reasons to just keep flipping method, or the constant flipping like this is good, is because when you have a side of the steak that's down, you got heat just pounding on it. If you just cook it for 5 minutes or so on that side, flip it over to the other side, the whole outer edge of the steak is going to be overdone, and only the very middle is going to be where you want it. By doing this, when you flip it over, all the heat that's kind of stored up in there, it kind of goes up, kind of goes out of the steak. It doesn't keep penetrating into the middle of it as much. So you end up with steak that's has a nice sear, nice color on the outside, but the middle is still rare, medium rare, whatever you want it. You see this one here is the color on that is almost perfect where I want it, but I don't think the temperature's still there. I'm gonna check the temp again here, and we'll see where we're at. Yeah, still only at 93 on that. The flank's getting there. It's 100 and... Yeah, the flank's almost done. Oh no, they're still... But it's hard to get a good reading on thin steaks like this with a thermometer. One good thing I like about the thermopop is on a lot of thermometers, the temperature is read like up here, about ½ inch or an inch from the bottom. On the ThermoWorks ones, the Thermopop, the Thermopen, it's right down on the tip, so you don't need to stick the probe in very far to get a reading. These coals are super hot. I can barely put my hand over to take the temperature, so I got to take the steaks off over here to take the temperature of them. So just keep flipping the steaks, move them around. Like I said, if they start getting too dark of a color, move them off to the side a bit. If you start getting flare-ups like that, just move the steak and that flare-up will go down. I'm looking forward to trying these. Even just smelling them cook, there's a different smell than you get with beef. I mean, it's hard to, it's almost like a little bit more floral smell, if that makes sense. At least that's what I'm getting right now. The taste, it's going to be a bit more minerally. It almost has like an oyster. It tastes almost like an oyster if you yeah, see right here we're looking at 126. So I think this one, yeah, we're gonna be done on this one. That one might even got a couple of degrees over. Let's check this one, see where we're at. Yeah, 120 That's perfect. That's where I want that one. And the flank should be done here. Oh, this is a bit, this one's squishing up a bit thicker, so it's still only about 95 in the middle. So we're gonna give this one 2 or 3 more flips until it's done. Another thing, this is bison. It's not buffalo. I know we call them buffalo here in the US. It's an American bison. Buffalo is like a Cape buffalo in Africa, or water buffalo over in Asia. So these are bison. You'll see it referred to both ways. Some people call them, some people here call it buffalo meat, some call it bison meat. The technical proper term is going to be American bison. At the Honest Bison, you can get all sorts of different cuts. They like using the whole animal, so you can get liver and kidneys and things like that. You can also get ribeyes. They have tomahawk ribeyes. You can get tri-tips. You can get short ribs. You can get a brisket. One of these days I want to try smoking a bison brisket and see how it see if it works. Obviously there's less fat, so you got to be a little more careful doing it. But this is getting to be done. Well, still needs a little bit more. There's the middle of it is still. Let's try to take it from the side here. One more temperature reading. Yeah, I think we're gonna give it another 2 flips. So about another 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other, and we'll go with it. Like I said, bison's gonna be a little more expensive than beef. For a ribeye like that, I think they're probably around $30. Don't quote me on it. You can go check the site and see. It's more expensive than you'd pay for a similar size ribeye. A ribeye that size is going to be about maybe 15, 20 bucks, depending on the quality of the meat you get. All right, give this another few seconds here, then we'll pull it off. These coals, like I said, I can barely put my hand right there, and it starts getting hot. So you want nice hot coals for this. And once again, if things are going a little bit quick, just move it over here for a few minutes, and things will cool down a bit. All right, I'm going to call this done. We're going to take these inside. We're going to let them rest for a minute and then cut them up and eat them. So there we go, bison ribeyes and a bison flank.